Go live. Going live. You are live. Okay, so hey everyone. We'll just take a couple of seconds just to check if this is actually live. Do you mind, Tim, being can you just check? Like maybe have a look at the
I can
chat.
see it now.
Yeah, just check. Keep an eye on the chat.
Sure. I'm really blurry.
I know, yeah. You're always like that, and I'm just joking. Yeah, well, what can we do? Yeah. What do you think? Otherwise I'll just be fiddling around with this. Do you want to carry on with this?
Yeah.
My sound's there. Tim's sound's there. So, yeah. How's it?
But our sound levels are very similar, so that's good.
Okay, good. So we'll just have to have a play around. We don't have time to
Yeah.
fiddle around and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's the video. So just a conversation. I can hear you and you can hear me, and I think the sound is coming through the YouTube live stream. It's all
it
good.
It is. Yep,
yeah.
I checked it.
Okay. So let's start. Okay.
Let's get to it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So like I made a good plan, and it just depends. We don't need to get through all of it. I didn't really think how long it would take to get through, but I didn't plan that much. I just sort of did like a very good general overview of what I think is a good general overview and an introduction to depth psychology from my learning personally and what I've learned recently through the IPSA. So so I guess the structure will be like I'll tell you the contents, but let's the dynamic between me and you. I thought because I'm introducing what I've learnt, and my understanding right now, it'll just be like a conversation because I haven't written an explanation that I'm going to read from. So in that way, it's quite real, and I'm and it's important to be able to understand this stuff well enough to be able to communicate it in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that will be kind of my role, and it's really important.
I'll be the student.
Cool.
Teach me.
And it's really important that I'm able to communicate to you to the point where you can understand in a way that it's not toku for you. To whatever level. So
right, that's convincing.
If you can make sense of it. So that's my purpose. So what you can do is you can just ask for any kind of clarification, any kind of tangent you want to go down, any kind of examples as well that you want to think, is this an example of what we're talking about? And I mean, obviously that'll be new for me as well to hear, and I'll be able to together we'll be able to reflect on, is it an example, or is it an example of this plus something else, or is it some other kind of dynamic? So that'd be great. So so with the examples, there are I'm sure this is all real stuff, so we can generate examples of what we're talking about. I haven't done it myself with all of these concepts. I can, but I'm sure if we can build a understanding together about what we're talking about, I'm sure you can bring your own examples to it, and I'm sure they can be better than what I have to offer, just depending on what clicks and what's relevant. You might be experiencing something in your life or have done, and it seems relevant to whatever we're talking about. So I guess most important is like, can we understand this stuff together? Yeah.
Great. Sounds good.
Through conversation.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'll talk about the contents. Do you want to say anything before that?
Oh, just hello.
Hey, man. Hey, everyone.
So I'm Tim, and this is Nathan. We are the Ikiguys, and Nathan's doing a psychology course at the moment, Ikiguys started because we want to spread our experience or our knowledge with more people. Our experiences are quite unique, but we think that we still have a pretty good, what would you call it? A pretty good understanding of reality, I guess. And we want people to be more open or to experience the world in a positive way as well. And so we set up this Ikiguys. But also because Nathan's doing his psychology course, we thought it would be a great way to, what would you call it? Like reinforce his learnings. And yeah, so should we get to it then, Nate?
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you, Tim. I mean, that seemed to me like a necessary thing that just went over my head. Like I'm ready to bring what I have to bring. And it's just so cool to work with other people like that, where you're like, oh yeah, so this person sees it from another perspective, where let's frame it in a kind of a different way that is relevant to, far out. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We can't be isolated. We have to really think about how we can best connect this to the everyday person, I think.
Yes, and I hope that I'm quite confident, but we'll just see how it goes. But I can communicate about this stuff to whatever extent where it is relevant and it's alive for the everyday person. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so just like bang bang bang, what I plan to talk about is, so when you think about or hear about depth psychology, just focusing on the word depth, the deep part. So I'm going to have a conversation with you about the unconscious. What is it?
Okay.
And what's its function and examples of it, and how does it relate to what is conscious. And I can say more about that when we get into that. The next part is about what, according to my understanding and what I've learned through IPSA, and what seems to be like real for me, is what's at the bottom of the unconscious, which are instincts. And so I'll talk about my understanding, my learning of how instincts play a foundational role in the unconscious in the person. And the next point I want to introduce is a framework of understanding a whole person, which is called a biopsychosocial model. Biology, psychology, and social, the social aspect of the person.
Social model. Cool.
And so we can see how there are all these parts that influence and make up a person. Ranging from right down at the very, how far do you want to go down to the quantum level? Biology, and then all the way up through into society, and so after that, I want to introduce, and I don't know if you've heard of this concept before. I'm not sure many people have, and maybe if they have, it's it's very much tied up with fantasy. But
Okay.
I'm
Yep.
very confident that I can explain it to, like, in a very grounded way, as far
Mm-hmm.
away from fantasy as um, you would like to. I mean, I'm sure.
Okay.
Well,
Yep.
anyway, so this concept is the concept of the anima in a man and the
Uh-huh.
animus in a woman. Um, the anima, Anima, and animus, Animus.
Got it. Thanks.
And the last point I think we can perhaps touch on, or perhaps not, if it's timely, are complexes.
Okay.
Now,
Yep.
complexes can be positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
Until now, in terms of the unconscious instincts,
Mm-hmm.
biopsychosocial model, and the anima and the animus, which can also have
Mm-hmm.
big negative parts
Mm-hmm.
to it.
Yep.
And the complexes can be positive and negative or neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my thinking was that when we start to get into complexes, we could start to think about um, maladapted psychology. So where
Yep.
psychology moves away from health and
Uh-huh.
balance.
Yep.
So that might lead into a conversation for another time, or it might be good to round it off before we really like dive into complexes.
Okay.
But
Yep.
yeah, so that's the plan. That's the whole thing. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Any
Looking forward to it.
any initial questions?
Um. Not really. You said the unconscious, and then and at the bottom is instinct,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the sort of thing that we try to develop or try to see or try to extract, I guess, a bit when we're doing Yamabushi training. It's about going out into nature and then feeling what your instincts are. So I'm quite interested in this topic. Um,
So we might be um, talking about the unconscious and perhaps really not being able to scratch much of the surface on instincts, and that might be plenty of time. Um, it might be good to take it slow and then leave the other stuff
yeah,
for later. Yeah,
yeah.
because there's a lot to say about instincts. Yeah. So what I want to say, in addition to instincts, is lifespan development, because
Hmm.
instincts will be wanting to be expressed. They want to express
Yeah,
themselves at
yeah.
different types of instincts at different stages of lifespan development. So we could go through a whole life and be like, what instincts would a baby have,
Hmm.
newborn, and then at all different stages. So,
Mm.
and then we can say, how is an instinct purely expressed and the instinctual need is met, and how, and what about a where it's not met, and so there's heaps to say about that. Um,
Interesting. Yeah.
so what about with Yamabushi? Like, do you actually use honno? Like, do you talk about honno instincts?
Uh do we call it honno? We call it can't can't just feeling.
Okay.
Um I think it's the same thing. And so yeah, the this is this is particular to my type of Yamabushi though. This is it's coming straight out of Master Hoshino.
Yeah.
And so he has a big thing about the reason why, or well, there is no particular reason why you do Yamabushi training. You do it to do it. But one thing that can be said is that when you do it, you strengthen your ability to get to have instincts, if that makes sense. So you strengthen your ability to feel like out by being out in nature, and this is like getting back to when humans were more instinctual. Um, instinctive. Is that the word? And so the reason being is, this is Masayo's philosophy, but when you think too much, that's your brain. It's not your heart that is controlling the thought process. So Masayo's philosophy, which I agree with, is that we should try and use our instincts more, or as much as we can. He says to feel first and then think later. So develop your ability to intuit, and then you can intuit. You can feel. You can get these instincts, and then you can start to think about it. And then that's how it turns into actions, I think. Sometimes you don't even have to think about it. If it's an instinct, you can just go with it and try new things, I think. Yeah.
There's I can draw like, I can draw. You can go on all these tangents if we want to. Just briefly, like for example, we can. Yeah. Why not? But also, I started with I introduced these in order because I thought they might be useful concepts to go through in this order: unconscious instincts, psychosocial model. But like when you're talking about going into nature, like in terms of where do you come from, like going back to your roots, and this is going through your psychology, like you're not your persona, okay. Ego is a part of you, but it's not. It's it's a very small part of you. Your conscious experience of life. There's a whole another, like think about a picture of the iceberg, where the top of the iceberg is above the water. Is it the greater part is beneath the surface of the water, the unconscious. Then going back to the root of that, in the theory here, the instincts are there at the bottom, and if you can connect to nature, if you can connect to animals, I mean you can connect to just the idea of instincts, and that's just the idea. But if you can connect to the experience and the living out of your instincts, so take the theory and apply it to your life in whatever way you works for you. This is a thing, like also I wanted to say, like this model of understanding psychology, or a philosophy of understanding life, Yamabushi, or anything like that. These models, these theories, like they're just theories. The validity of the theory and the model is like how accurately do they describe the reality of life? Like, can you test them? Like, do these models describe actually what's going on? So we don't have to describe it, but maybe we do have to describe it in order to figure out where we are, in order to educate younger generations, or like help each other make a better picture of what's going on. I guess we do. It's our nature. We have to make models. Like, for example, language that we use, all of the words, they're just pointing at the actual thing, like the actual table. It's not the word table. There's an actual a reality to the table. So the word table accurately describes the actual thing, but there's a difference between the word and the actual thing. So this is it's like, oh man, there's so much to say about this already. I mean, basically the map is not the territory, if you've heard that saying before.
I love that.
Also in the Tao Te Ching, really good, like foundational book of Taoism, is something like the name that can be named is not the eternal name. What's and there's another one, I can't remember that other line from the start of that. The Tao, the path that can be walked, is not the eternal Tao. So what is it? Even in like Christianity, it's like, don't make any images, like don't worship images, because the image is not the real thing.
That was one of the 10 Commandments.
So basically, the model here that I'm learning, that I'm introducing to you, or just a general understanding of like an introductory thing that I can present here, is a model. It's not the reality of human life, your life, our lives, but so far it's the best one I've come across. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it's exciting, eh? Oh man. Okay.
This is great.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Can feel it. Okay, so what's the unconscious? Any thoughts? The unconscious. What is unconscious? I might say, like, okay, let's give some examples. Unconscious mind, unconscious body, the unconscious in general. It may be, but it's also, it may be necessary, but it's also a mistake to exclude one or the other. They're both together, but you can separate them for the purpose of analyzing them. So that's why I say, or that's why there's the term the unconscious.
Yep.
So the question is, what is it? I can give you an example, but do you have any thoughts on that? Just very brief, that first question, what is the unconscious?
For me, I think it's something that comes to you. For example, your thoughts, or that would be something like the unconscious mind. So not necessarily things that you try to think about, but just things that come to you. And I don't know how. I have no idea. And when you said unconscious mind and unconscious body, the first thing I thought of for body was like breathing, because breathing is both conscious and unconscious, but it's something that just happens that you. Well, in the case of breathing, you do have some control over it, but just things that happen to you, I guess. I'm not sure what.
That's
what
great. Yeah, no, it's great. We can go with all of what you said there, because it's really valuable. But you kind of like, you might have.
I'm just thinking of it at a word level, like a linguistic level.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. So hopefully, well, it doesn't matter if it works or not, but like, I'll say to you that probably there's an unconscious process going on with you, Tim, right now. It's unconscious at the moment. Like, it might not be, but I'm going to bring it into consciousness.
Okay.
So we'll get an idea of the difference. So, can you take a deep breath in and breathe out, and just keep breathing. Just continue to be conscious of your breathing. And
I don't know how long I could do that for.
You just breathe normally, but but just be conscious of your breathing.
Try and keep conscious of it.
Yeah, that's all. Just notice that you're breathing. So were you conscious of your breathing before I brought it up?
No.
Yeah, I mean, even if you were, like, just as a hypothetical thing, like, that's just.
Well, actually, so I purposely try to breathe through my nose. So I don't know. Maybe does that count as being conscious?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's good to get into that kind of conversation. But I just want to highlight, like, the difference between the conscious experience of something and letting it sink back into, okay, so now we can get into probably the function or the purpose of the unconscious connected to this breathing. So let's just say that we all just let the breathing does itself most of the time.
Yeah.
You can also like if you're sensitive to your body, like, and I'm sure you are if you're like exercising and stuff. You're conscious
Yeah.
of your heart beating, your heart rate at certain
Yes.
times of your,
Yeah.
and are you conscious of your heart rate like all your waking life, like through the whole?
No.
So that this just like coming into consciousness and then
Yeah.
sinking back into the unconscious.
Yeah.
This is unconscious body. We can talk about
Yeah.
unconscious mind, but I've also tried to think, and like I've got lots of examples, but I don't know if they're like the best kind of examples. I found
Mm-hmm.
the breathing and the heart rate one to be pretty illustrative of the unconscious body.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about unconscious mind, you mentioned thoughts before. Let's talk about
Mm.
that in a moment if you want to. But I'll just
Mm.
just um, uh, communicate to you
Mm.
my understanding of what is the function of the unconscious. Like, what is it for?
Yeah.
So what it's for is, if you imagine that everything that's going on within your mind,
Mm-hmm.
everything, all your memories, everything you've
Uh-huh.
experienced, every physical, biological process that's going on within you, if you had to manage that within your consciousness, well, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So the purpose of the unconscious is to automate all these things. They
I see.
they are
Yeah.
self-regulating.
Yeah.
A healthy organism
Yeah.
will regulate itself unconsciously. You can see this in nature.
Mm.
If you just leave nature to itself,
Mm.
it'll natural systems like this.
Yeah.
The breathing, if you just let it go, it'll regulate itself.
Mm-hmm.
Heart rate, all that stuff. And yeah, so there you go. Yeah,
I think. Yeah. So it's for survival, basically. I feel
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's like they say things like you're unconscious. So, oh, maybe it's not you're unconscious, but like you see a bush moving, and you think maybe there's a lion there or something. Like
yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah,
Yeah, but I think survival for survival,
yeah, yeah,
basically.
definitely, yeah. Which we, can link back to instincts, but yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
definitely. Like, yeah, totally for survival. So a couple of words about this. Like, there's a more scientific word which is homeostasis, is to
Yep.
keep in balance,
Unbalanced. Yep.
and also to adapt to changes, with the purpose of maintaining balance.
Yep.
Because there's always going to be changes. So it's not like make everything solid so nothing moves and keep it like that.
Yeah.
It's like a moving, self-correcting system nestled
Mm-hmm.
within other bigger moving self-correcting systems, the natural
Yep.
environment, or
Yep.
the social environment, all that kind of thing. Very interesting stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So I was sort of thinking of examples of the unconscious. So we touched on the physical stuff. Um,
Yep.
I found it. Maybe we could just talk about thoughts, because that might just, because you already mentioned them, so it might just give an example of unconscious mind. So you
Mm.
said thoughts.
Mm.
So when you're aware of your thoughts, they're conscious.
Yes.
So where do they come from? Like, what could we say about that?
Yeah, I don't know. Where did they come from? The environment? I don't know.
Yeah, that I mean, there must be some kind of process there that that is playing out
Mm.
before the thoughts enter consciousness. Actually, the lion in the bush thing is a good example, because that would also um, um, it would also provoke a physical unconscious response, which is like
Yep.
danger,
Yep.
and like your body
Yep.
like is ready to go. Uh, it'd also be a psychological thing, because you would experience psychologically
Yep.
danger or anxiety or ready to, or aggression, if you want to fight a lion, maybe
Yeah.
come on. And the conscious thing, I guess, would come in afterwards, where you consciously become aware that the bush has moved, and that if you see a lion, then you see the lion first, and then and instinctually your unconscious is like processing that, and then however many milliseconds afterwards into your consciousness, you can identify this as a bunch of things, like a dangerous thing or unexpected thing maybe first, then a dangerous animal, and then like a predator, and then a lion, and then so it might become clearer in your consciousness through a very short period of time. But so so let's keep moving forward with this, because if there's we don't need to talk round and round in circles, but I think we can continue to build up an understanding as we go forward. So we've got a greater part of us just needs to be regulated and self-automated, because we've only got so much energy and attention to give to whatever is occupying our consciousness. So we've got unconscious there. It's big. I mean, how big is it? Who knows? I mean, like, we're part of nature, so I mean, it might be way, beyond your physical body and your what you think yourself. There's also another thing to say about the collective unconscious. Like if a bunch of people believe in a certain thing, and you're part of that group, and it just becomes a part of what you believe unconsciously. I mean, we could talk about this, like atarimae. It's atarimae. Like when you say atarimae, like it's taken for granted. When you say that, it is taken for granted. You're pointing at it. Maybe it's conscious to some extent, but before saying atarimae, it is atarimae in your unconscious. Whether it's you yourself or collectively. So there is also a collective aspect to the unconscious. Like we share stuff that we just take for granted.
I was thinking about that just before. When I was driving home, I was waiting at a traffic light, and the light changed, but the car in front of me didn't realize. And I waited about 2 seconds and I pushed the horn. But I think other Japanese people wouldn't. So in Japan, it's like you try to help people realize that they're doing something that's not like good, or so they try and, in New Zealand would push the horn straight away, but in Japan, like since people wait longer, like I think they're trying to like make people realize that they're I don't know, they're doing something that's not good for that's bothering other people, I guess. Sorry.
So like I think it's safe to say that like not like the average Japanese person wouldn't go through their lives consciously thinking that we need to value harmony and we need to give each other a little bit of leeway. It's an unconscious part of the culture that people take into themselves. They play a part in that dynamic, that social dynamic, unconsciously. And you can also bring this back to a self-regulating system. Like it's just a way that society functions in a better way for people in Japan. And you can say that all over the world. Like you need some degree of harmony. I guess, is that a bold assumption? Yeah.
No, I think
definitely. So yes, and that's a very interesting thing to talk about as well, as the collective unconscious. So we've got the unconscious, we've got consciousness, we've got what is in your field of awareness, whatever it is, in your mind, thoughts, or in your body, you're feeling whatever, or through your senses, with yourself and what you're experiencing in the world, memories, all that kind of thing. I mean, memories that you are aware of at the time. Memories are stored in the unconscious. You can recall them. Some of them you can't recall. Some of them come forward for whatever reason. So and then now, let's take this idea of how you experience yourself within the field of consciousness. You're conscious of you, and you identify yourself as this thing, and that's the ego. That's you. That you're aware of. Your conscious experience of yourself is the ego. So, in thinking about that, you can easily see that you're not your ego. There's huge, massive unconscious aspects to who you are, or to and you know that have influences on who you are. And there are things drifting in and out of consciousness that might come into your consciousness, that might be integrated into your ego. It's all crazy, moving, kind of dynamic stuff. So we kind of got to the last point I want to say, and I think this is an important point to say about the unconscious before we move on to instincts. So, what is the right way to relate to your unconscious? If I say, just go back to before, it's a self-regulating system. If you can imagine any other kind of self-regulating systems, like what is the right way to relate to a self-regulating system that is part of you?
You should just let it go.
Yeah, man, that's what else can you say? I think that's good. That's totally it, really. Don't meddle any more than you need to. Don't meddle unless you think you're really sure of what you're doing. Like if you need to make some adjustments, go in there and tweak and do that kind of thing. Respect it, because it's performing all these functions that there's no way, like you better keep your hands out of there and be like, let's work in harmony together. Like I have my focused but very minimal role as an ego in the experience, this conscious experience that I'm having, and then there's this whole other aspect which is like you're sitting on top of that kind of thing. I mean, it's like you can just imagine it's having respect for the environment that you're a part of. So that's a very very important thing to know, but it's very intuitive, or it's easy to grasp. You can assess having a healthy relationship with the greater part of yourself, something like that. Healthy relationship means you let it do what it wants to do. It knows what it wants to do, probably better than you do, pretty much all the time. When you get into like maladaptations and problems, we can talk about how things might have, like habits could have formed where the self-regulating system is it's off skew. So then if you can become conscious of that and make the smallest possible effective tweaks in the system, then you can bring things back into balance. That's pretty much the unconscious. I don't want to overdo it there, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. I like that. It's kind of, I like how you said respect it. It's kind of ukitamo, I think. Yamabushi. Just accept it, respect it, and let it run its course.
You find that any of these kind of philosophies or sciences or spiritual practices that are worth their salt, have these so many similarities like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so instincts sitting at the bottom of we're talking about. Yeah, and we can talk about the individual mostly, I guess, but it's also might be interesting or a side tangent to keep it in mind that there are collective instincts as well. But we can talk about just one person's lifespan development and how instincts might what kind of instincts would there be at certain stages, and how might they be expressed, and how might they be
is this Sigmund Freud?
Yes. I think a lot of his work was pointing at specifically at these more basic things. But he was sort of, I can't not like the way I'm learning all this is that there's so much to read and so much to study, so I can't say much about Sigmund Freud in particular. But what I can say from my own understanding, and this is there's so much more reading that I could do. So just take it from as my own interpretation of what I've learnt so far. In terms of basic instincts and basic initial lifespan development, Freud focused on that in his work, in his life. In terms of moving beyond those basic stages of life into adapting to society, to finding your place in society. Adler is the name that will come up. His work will point a lot towards the social adaptation, the instinctual need to adapt to society and to find one's place in society. And Carl Jung would be the guy to go to think about the instinctual need to realize yourself and who you are in your fullest potential that you can manifest given the environmental constrictions on you over the course of your life. And so they build on top of each other. So I can give you a brief stages of lifespan development. There's 5 stages, and we can we can think about the instincts, how they relate to these. Okay, so first stage is with your mum. Your instincts will push you to, in order for your instinctual needs to be met, you need to be accepted by your mum, and you need to get what it is that you need to get from your mum, which we could talk about, but I could put a word or some words on that, like what's the role of a mum, like we can be politically incorrect. This is like kind of like dangerous territory, because like we're talking about primitive humans, like biological humans, so like we're not trying to be, well, okay, I'm not going to speak for you, sorry Tim. Sorry man. I mean, like if I tried to be politically correct and try to understand what's happening at this particular time in society, it would filter everything that I'm trying to understand and trying to say about my understanding of like evolutionary, like the way that psychology has developed, has evolved within a human for since forever. So it's going to make it super messy if we like get political about it. So like do you want to say anything?
No, it's fine.
Okay, so
continue. I think I can imagine what this would be.
Yeah, it's just like care, nurturing.
Yeah, nurturing. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's enough. Yeah. So
Yeah.
first stage, instincts are met. It
Mm.
brings you to a certain level of development.
Mm-hmm.
Next stage is your father.
Mm-hmm.
Need to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And so being accepted, being welcomed, being accepted, being able uh, to well, I'm not sure, to be confirmed, to be validated
Yep.
by what it by the other in the social relationship that you have
Uh-huh.
throughout your lifespan. So
Yep.
that the being accepted thing is like a common theme. So being accepted
Okay.
by your father, and then what's the father's job? So like the way I understand is like mother is like embrace and
Mm-hmm.
and nurture like this, and in a positive way. And if
Mm.
you think in the opposite way, the father's job is to encourage and push to be strong, and to put
Interesting.
and
Uh-huh.
to help the person to get ready and to transition into moving forward in their life as a young adult and into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
two
Okay.
two stages. There's three more to
Yep.
go. Third one is a social group. You
Yep.
you are looking to be accepted and to
Mm-hmm.
find your place amongst others who are
Yep.
your your peers. So
Yep.
you can think of Bukatsu Club in Japan. You can think of school.
Yep.
As you get a bit older, you can think of university,
Yep.
graduate university. You can think of like you're a new
Office.
employee, and all
Yeah.
everyone together, and you find your place in the world in that way, and your instincts are uh, pushing to be expressed, and your instincts will
I lost you.
hopefully be met. Hey, can you hear me?
I lost you.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, but it's cutting out.
Okay, let's just see how it goes. Let me know if it's better. Oh, your video's gone from the thing. Yeah, video capture. That's me. Window, zoom. Okay, your video's gone from the OBS. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Ah, your video disappeared from OBS. Um, okay, I got your video back. Okay, so can you hear me? Hey, Tim.
Hello?
Hey, Tim, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's quite robotic.
Okay, yeah, okay. Let's just see how it goes. See how it sounds. My audio output, is that? No, that's okay. That one. Okay, so my microphone should be okay. Yeah. How is the audio now?
It's still robotic.
Still the same. Okay.
Should we just start the call again?
You want to start the Zoom?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'll stop it. Hey everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Hey.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's still robotic.
Oh, damn. Oh man, this is weird. OBS is being weird. Do that. How's my, yeah, still the same?
Yeah. Why?
It's funny because yeah, it's just changed, like OBS and looks like Zoom. Is it Zoom? Zoom that went bad?
So. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh. Audio output. That's me. So I got my microphone set on that, and yeah. Oh well. I wonder if yeah, now we got 3 people watching us. I don't know. It's all a bit funny.
One of them's me.
Sorry?
One of them's me.
Okay, yeah. Damn. We can kind of, yeah, I feel like we should maybe wrap it up if it's gonna like break up stuff. But I'm keen to run through very briefly the stuff I want to share anyway, whether it's on YouTube or not.
I can't understand.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you not hear my voice properly?
I can hear it.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, it's not working. OBS is not working, so I might just stop this. Yeah. Okay. What do you think? Shall I'll call it? I've got no idea. There's no options really. Zoom meeting. The Zoom meeting option has come up again for me, but it's not displaying anything. It's a blank screen, and there's no other window capture options in terms of Zoom. Oh, now there is one. Okay, now there's a picture of you there. Okay, so maybe we can, but still my audio is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Well, maybe it might be for you. Like it might be. Oh no, what about through the? Are you listening to the YouTube video?
So I can, but it's got a delay of like 10 seconds.
Yeah, because it's capturing my audio through the microphone, through my microphone.
Yeah.
That's what it says. So it might be. What? Yeah, it's like cutting in and out. So now your video has disappeared. Oh well. Oh well. Okay. Yeah, let's call it a day. Oh no, I've got 4 people watching. I don't know. Oh, it's annoying. I wonder if it's because we're talking about this kind of stuff. This stuff happens.
Right.
These self-regulating systems need a bit of tweaking. Yeah, okay.